I have with me Mr. Salman Khurshid, External Affairs Minister. Salman Saab, yesterday the BJP President Mr. Rajnath Singh reached out to the Muslims. He says we are willing to apologize for mistakes made wittingly or unwittingly. Your reaction to that?
I saw that and I was very bemused by what he was saying, because clearly it was a person who either knew everything that they had done or knew nothing. And I would opt for his knowing, because I know that he's a very smart person, he's a very intelligent person, and I think he's a sensitive person, and he knows what has gone wrong. And I'm just wondering whether one of the mistakes that he thinks that they might have made is to announce Mr. Modi as their prime ministerial candidate. If that's not the mistake, then what is the other mistake? I thought this is the big mistake that they have made. But are there other mistakes that they've made? Then I think he should say, these are the mistakes we've made. Because there is a basic principle in life, truth and reconciliation. Somehow people think saying sorry is enough. You don't say sorry.
You obviously don't think it's enough for them just to say sorry.
No, he's not saying sorry to me. He must say sorry to the people of India. He must say sorry to those who've been hurt. And I don't think that he should feel that he can say sorry to Muslims and get away. He has to say sorry to the country. Muslims are part of this country. The big mistake they make is that they don't treat Muslims as part of the country. If they did, they wouldn't behave with them the way they did. So I think there are fundamental issues that Rajnath Singh ji must address himself to. I don't think that they should so lightly speak about being able to say sorry, or being willing to say sorry, or being ready to say sorry. I think first they should actually face the truth. They must first accept the truth, state the truth, and then work towards whatever comes once you accept the truth.
Do you think this will wash with the minority community?
I'm not a spokesperson for the minority. I just, as a person who believes that a scar remains on the good character of our country, on the secular face of our country, and that scar must be removed. It must be addressed. It must be treated. So it's not for me to say this will be accepted. It is for the people finally to understand and accept. And again, I say that it can't be one community alone. There are a lot of people who were hurt by what happened in Gujarat, and not all of them were Muslims. This is the strength of our country, that people who were not hurt only because they were Muslims. Somebody was hurt physically, somebody was hurt intellectually, somebody was hurt emotionally, somebody was hurt in terms of their patriotic sense of our country. All of them will have to respond to whatever Mr. Rajnath Singh has to say. And of course, what Mr. Rajnath Singh says is coming from the president of the party, but not from their stated and announced prime minister.
So you feel Mr. Narendra Modi himself should apologize?
No, I don't even know whether he should apologize or not. I think he should first accept the truth. We are still arguing about what happened in Gujarat. What is the truth? We are still arguing about that, and he is contesting the truth. Now, I hear again and again his saying, I've been given a clean chit. Forget the clean chit. Please, let's talk about the 117 people who have life sentence given by courts of this country. Let's talk about Maya Kodnani, who was a minister in his government and who has been given life sentence, one of those 117 people. Now, who is responsible for this? Who will answer for this? Who will account for this? Forget about whether his personal responsibility in a particular case will be proved or not proved. That's a matter for the future. But who is responsible for all this? Has it been accepted? Will it be written somewhere that we account and we apologize and we will compensate every single such person if compensation is possible in these circumstances?
Salman Sahib, one of your statements has stirred a hornet's nest. Yesterday you turned Narendra Modi as Napunsak, impotent. What exactly did you mean? Your critics say this is a new law in Indian politics.
New law? Lower than killing people, children, women? burning homes, destroying communities. This is lower than that. And my critics understand the Hindi language or they don't? Do they have a better word for what I said? My complaint was that somebody is being described as a man of steel, Law Purush. And I was saying a Law Purush couldn't prevent 10, 15, 20, 30, how many people were there who supposed to have burnt the train in Godhra? He couldn't prevent 30 people from burning a train? And if he couldn't prevent 30 people from burning a train, irrespective of who they were and who they killed, should he not have been able to stop the reactions that happened all across Gujarat? Even if he wasn't personally responsible, was he not responsible in terms of being the chief minister? What is the word that I describe? He uses the word competence, I use the word incompetence. And in Hindi, incompetence is a word that is also, impotence is also the word that's used for incompetence. Incompetence can be of many kinds. It can be a guy who's bumbling, a guy who's negligent, a guy who doesn't just know how to do things properly, and there's a guy who just doesn't have the capacity. Lack of capacity is the same word.
One last question. Mr. Arun Jaitley has accused you, and other BJP leaders are accusing your government, especially Rahul Gandhi, of political opportunism by, they're referring to the fact that at the last minute, now that Parliament is over, you've thought of anti-corruption laws and you are taking the ordinance route.
Well, the ordinances haven't yet come. There is a wish that was expressed publicly by Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and he is our leader and he is the vice president of our party. So if he thinks it's important that we should look at this seriously, then obviously we have to look at it seriously, and we will. Now, what will be found appropriate, what will be found necessary, and what will be found in terms of urgency that we can defend publicly and that we can defend in any fora is what we will move forward on. Now, why don't we wait till you know what is the legislation that's coming in the form of an ordinance, if and when it comes, and then we will debate about the urgency, and we'll debate about the content, and we'll debate about the context in which we thought it was necessary to do. Ordinances are not things done in ordinary circumstances. They are done in extraordinary circumstances. We must justify the extraordinary circumstances, and we will. We will justify. Why is he jumping the gun? Why the nervousness and the sense of being exposed? Because whatever we do by an ordinance will also clearly be indicative that this is what could have been done by Parliament if it had not been cynically obstructed.
Thank you very much for speaking to us. With camera person Ashwani Helen, this is Javed Ansari in New Delhi for Headlines Today.